right, hey, good morning, folks. So we're going to do some Eberron artwork this morning. We're building an adventure for characters to fight undead and demons and stuff in the Carnwood of Cardath or the Continent or Navarre. Give me a second here to check my signal if we're live, and then we'll control some volume here. Check my signal if we're live, and then yeah, looks pretty good. I'm going to drop that down, get that volume out of the way. I'm going to do some social media posting here real quick, grab the link to the YouTube that we're looking at right now, post that out on the interwebs, let folks know that we're live and up and running, and I'll go through my intro here real quick, and then we'll get started. Excuse me. Let's see. My face. Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online, and let's see. I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 99. I've been an Eberron enthusiast since 2005. And I've been creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition on the DungeonMastersGuild.com since 2017, but I've never published an adventure. So that's what we're doing. We're fixing that. This is the cover that you can see here on screen is Crystals of Mabar. This is for 7th and 8th level characters. Again, it's in Carnath. It's your Carnath National, assumedly Carnath Nationals in this adventure, but there's a lot of different reasons why your character can be in the area. You can get teleported, plane shifted, tree strode into the space to be able to deal with the adventure. And there's a number of, there's 6 different plot hooks that can lead your characters in with different information, resources, and goals and rewards for the adventure, but it all flows the same. It's just a different way of, like, different plot lines hop onto the train at different points to run around on the different tracks that we have. But it's like a gourd in that it starts off in a village into the forest, and then once you hit the manifest zone, there's a number of different pathways you can go to try to find out what's going on and to get into the final boss fight dungeon area where all the different plot lines seal together again and then flow through the last dungeon to conclude. So you have an entry point, a common entry point, a diversity of different combat, exploration, and social encounter circumstances that you can weave through that gets you the information that you need to get to the final bosses and the goal of the adventure. And then depending on what resources you have and what paths you followed is going to end inside of the final dungeon in different scenarios depending on how you want to do it. And we flow through all of those things, and the adventure is a lot of fun. So let me get my screen fixed here. Good. I'm on the X Twitter platform. If you're also on X Twitter, I'm at Phil Kearney, where I post like here's a playtest that we're offering on my Discord for the martial power system from level 3 to 10, for the alternate magic system for half casters and marshals to use to get a leg up and equal footing with normal spellcasters inside of D&D. So that's going to be open from, well, as soon as we can get it. We got 3 people on one team and 2 on another, and we're trying to get everything assembled as fast as we can to make it up and run. But we'll see how soon. If we can get up and running in November, God bless. Early looks, artwork, coupons, and invitations here on my channel. Check it out if you're interested, at Phil Kearney. Also here on YouTube, at Phil Kearney. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. And here is the entire 355 episode playlist here, where we're building all the stuff that we're building, including this book cover, which is back around episode 40, and we figured out all this lettering both like around episode, I want to say 51, and then we finished it off like around episode 260 something. And here's a slew of books that I've created on the DM's Guild already. They're all free preview. I want you to be able to read the books. I also want to be able to reference my own books when I'm creating more books, so that I can show you other things that I've done that are relevant to the subject matter that we're talking about. So I make my books free preview. You buy my books not necessarily to get access to the information, but to encourage me to make more of them if you think they're cool. So, having said all of that, here's the new innovation that we have for the book right now, which is inverted text. So we have normal body text, which is an 80, 80 on the RGB spectrum. It's 80, so a darkish gray on a off-white background. And then we have Bold dark text here. This is black text, which is going to be I'm in the wrong piece. Hold on, let me go through and find what should we be looking at. 8 through 12. Page 8 through 12 is where I'm supposed to be at. Where's my page 8 through 12, y'all? Page 12. There it is, page 8 through 12. Pop that open, and we go down here. Boop. Cool. So you can see here's black text on gray box, and these boxes, I believe, are 160. Yeah, 160, 160, 160, 160. And this text is 80, 80, 80. This text is black 0, 0, 0. And the background is like just off-white, like 220 something, right? I've got a creosote log burning in the background, so if you hear some crackling on occasion, it's just my fire playing along. God, I really like how this format is coming along. So we're just trying to perpetuate that. But yeah, so here's written text, right? And then information about the adventure, and then we have again going back to the example. Here is inverted text. So it says here, like, while exploring the homestead. This is the homestead map, right? So we've got the homestead and the scenario. Okay, so the homesteads. There's approximately 30 farming homesteads surrounding the village piece in the countryside to the south and east of the village square. We've been looking at on that last illustration. That was the village square that we were looking at. So each homestead is either abandoned, occupied, or has been recently attacked by undead. A map of an abandoned and a map of an abandoned and a map of an abandoned and occupied homestead is provided. That should be maps of. That should actually be maps of. That's my bad. Stuart Braz is my editor. The old goat Andy Heatley is my co-writer with this adventure, and I'm pretty sure Andy would stab me. Not Andy. Stuart would stab me in the eyes if I was using bad English like this. So while exploring the homestead, sounds of battles, I want to be up here. A separate map. A separate map. No, let's make it plural. Maps of an abandoned and occupied homestead are provided with purchase of the adventure here at DMsGuild.com. The map to the right depicts a homestead that has been recently attacked by undead where the family didn't survive. And then, so we go back into here. And here's our homestead map, and you can see there's some violence that's happening here. I want to actually, while I'm here, this is the wrong map. Here, let me open up the base map. I think I have the room on the page now to not cramp farmhouse attack. We're probably gonna have to update the flow of. The flow of information on the page here, but in the meantime, I just want to grab this. Like that. Oh yeah, it fits now. Fucking awesome. Okay, true to form, like the other pages, we're just going to be filling in the gaps of stuff. And as much as I love these things being lined up, I am concerned that it's pinching the space more than necessary. So first thing we're gonna work on right here, right now, right here, right now, right here, right now. I'm going to trim this down so it fades out into the environment. This is a lot of the illustrating that we're doing. We did all this work in the front end so that at the back end, all we had to do is add these components to the pages to complete the art on the page. So I'm so I was on. Sorry, I was in the middle of reading you a story. Each homestead is either abandoned, occupied, or has been recently attacked by undead. Maps of an abandoned and occupied homestead are provided with purchase of the adventure here at DMsGuild. The map to the right depicts a homestead that has been recently attacked by undead where the family didn't survive. Roll or choose the status of each homestead as needed or in advance during preparation. Status. On a scale of 1 to 3, there's a 1 in 3 chance that your home has been attacked. So by the time the team gets there, everyone's fucking panicking that there's undead. So there's a lot of abandoned homes. There's only 1 in 3 of the homes are going to be occupied. So abandoned and recently attacked means that those homes are gone. So of those 30 properties, probably only 10 of them actually still have families in them. So this is in the past 3 days of the characters arriving. People are just like fucking bugging out. Like, this place is dangerous. So you're needed. If they're abandoned, when the characters arrive, 7 families have already abandoned their homes. This is one of the 7 households that have been abandoned in the last 46 days. So there's yeah, there you go. Occupied. Each homestead is occupied by 1d2 plus 1 adults and 2d4 children. The family isn't aware there is a risk of attacks yet. Refer to the rumors table above. There's a rumors table in the city, in the downtown square above, for what the family believes, but they aren't ready to abandon their home yet. And here's a list of different rumors. Dragonblow is poisoning our land with evil spirits. Haunt the northern forest. No surprise the area wasn't claimed already. Obviously, Faye, we left a bowl of milk out last night to make sure we were on the good side, and it was empty. It was empty this morning, so that proves it. Rumors say that there's a huge tree in the forest with black crystals as seeds that shed when the moon of Cypherus is full, which is when all the events started. The soldiers must have found it. There's soldiers in the forest that are keeping you from getting access to the deeper part of the Carnwood. Soldiers are conducting forest warfare training, ready to ready an invasion of Kabara. We should stay clear. That's just complete nonsense. There is no invasion of Kabara being planned, but if in case there actually is, you can use this as a lead in your adventure. There's ruins north of here. There are ruins north of here. You're going to spend a lot of time exploring them. There must be something within valuable enough to send military to explore it. That's a really good point. Military spellcasters are experimenting with poison gases and other airborne hazards to be ready for when war inevitably breaks out again. That's not completely wrong. This all started with the full moon of Cypheros. The forest feels sinister during the endless night. It's good that these soldiers are near, even if it's inconvenient for now. That's not wrong either. That's a partial. Most of this stuff is a partial truth. Like, they have an idea of what's going on, but they're completely missing the point. So if you tie all these things together and take all of them as true, you start getting this picture of there's weird stuff that the military is doing in the forest involving this weird stench in the air. There's monsters that are abundant, and we think we've pissed off the ancient spirits in the Carnwood. We need to get the fuck out. That's basically what's happening, except they're all explaining it through conspiracy theory, which is perfect, because conspiracy theory always has just like a kernel of truth, and the rest of it's just crazy talk. All of this is very similar to that. The premise of the adventure is that your characters are deputized, the default adventure. There are insidious plots inside of this adventure that your characters can be very bad news. But the setup, the assumed setup is that you're deputized by Fort Bastion to answer questions of these small rural villages that no one has the bandwidth or time to deal with. So we're going to give you a badge, go deal with it, and if it's fixed and if there's no complaints, we could give you additional gigs. Your character's a 7th and 8th level right now, so they're probably a lot more powerful than the people that are handing out these badges in the first place, so your characters are going to be effective. This essentially gives your characters the excuse to get involved in Karnath law enforcement or military police from level 8 through 20 if you want. and we have the seeds in the adventure at the back end of this to be able to motivate plot lines that will actually take your character through 20th level. So there's a lot of expansion capability here, especially like if you do paid DMing and you want to run a scenario that's got a lot of mobility inside of it, that's Eberron specific, that you can offer to people. This, again, you can run this from level, you could start at level 6 if you wanted, but it'd be really dangerous. The CRs are balanced for level 7 and 8. So it's powerful, and there's a lot of it. So that's why we wanted to be a higher level, but not so high a level that you trivialize dungeons. This is on the edge of when dungeons are becoming questionable venues for your characters to gain experience points in. Because you can hop in and out of them so easily once you get access to 5th and higher level spells. Anyway, so we're looking at the farm, occupy, blah blah blah. They can't be persuaded to leave. They're not ready to leave their homes yet. So a character can persuade a family with a charisma, intimidate, or we're using the verb language that they have in 2024. That's part of this updating process that I'm going through by doing all of these page throughs on this layout, is to make sure that we're using new 5e24 terminology mechanics. So a character can persuade a family with a charisma, intimidate, or persuasion check to abandon their farm and either protect the village square with others, or to leave the region until Fort Bastion receives confirmation the region is safe again. The DC is equal to the number of homesteads that are still occupied, maximum of 23. So as you go through, if you're deciding that more homes have left, because you have 7 that have already left. This is when the characters arrive, 7 families have already abandoned their homes. This can be one of the 7 that have been abandoned in the last 46 days, or a new or another family that is also left. That have already. Let's see, when the characters, before the characters arrive, 7 families have already abandoned their homes. This can be one of those 7. One of those 7. Comma, or another family one of those 7, or another family that has also chosen to flee. There, that feels a lot better. Occupied. Each homestead is occupied by blah blah blah. You can convince them to leave. Recently attacked. The following pages detail each location numbered on the map. So we have up here, it says the map to the right depicts a homestead that has been recently attacked by undead where the family didn't survive. Roll or choose the status. Let's see. Each homestead is either abandoned, occupied, or has been recently attacked by undead. Let's do it like this. Roll or choose the status of each homestead. There we go. Roller chooses the status of each homestead as needed or in advance during preparation. Bum, 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 bum. Maps of abandoned. Nope. Maps of abandoned and occupied homesteads are provided with purchase of this adventure here, because we have the default just empty rooms where everything's been cleared out, and then all of the rooms have stuff in them, like appliances and shit like that, whatever. And then there's the one with appliances in it that's been attacked by undead where there's blood everywhere as well. Pick your status, bump, bump, bump. Maps of abandoned and occupied homesteads are provided with purchase of the adventure here at the DM's Guild, though social, I'm not gonna mark that. The word, what I would fill in here is that you don't necessarily need a map if it's just a social encounter where you're like walking up, it's like, hey, you see any weird shit? Yeah, we got these rumors. It's not safe here. It's like, well, fuck off. It's like, okay, good luck to you. And you move on to the news house. You don't have to go visit these homesteads at all if you don't want to, but they get mentioned in the adventure and you see them on the way in. So it becomes a point of interest. Like, oh yeah, a bunch of homesteads left. Maybe we should go check out the homesteads. On your way into the town, you're passing homesteads. It's like, this place looks kind of bleak. So, recently attacked, the following pages detail each location numbered on the map to the right. While the characters investigate, refer to the optional encounter 1 undead pack attack. Further below for the characters to battle additional undead as needed. So we have the entrance to the homestead, and then there's a farmhouse which has been attacked and has ghouls in it, and then there's the note here that while exploring the homestead, sounds of battle attract more undead. Actually, it made reference to the optional encounter, so we should probably actually go visit the optional encounter real quick. I know this is a huge tangent from doing artwork, but my adventure, my time, my joy. That is font 12. Undead pack attack. So this encounter can be used while the characters are in the village square or while investigating nearby homesteads. A mob of undead originating from the Carnwood spot the characters. Close distance. A mob of undead originate a pack of undead. A pack of undead originating from the Carnwood spot the characters in close distance to attack. And did I screw up my... Nope, pages are still good. A pack of undead originating from the Carnwood spot the characters in close distance to attack them. They close distance to attack them. To attack the characters. And any other creatures nearby. Roll 1d6 on the table below, or choose which type of undead are in the pack. 1d6. 1 to 2, result 1d3 plus 3 ghouls. A pack of sickly pale undead come into view. Low guttural snarls erupt from the unnatural creatures as they stampede towards you. A wretched stench overwhelms your senses as they charge. On a result of 3 or 4, you get 1d3 ghouls and 2d4 long dead. Long dead are basically prickly skeletons. A pack of skeletal and sickly pale undead come into view. Inhuman shrieks and snarls erupt from the creatures as they close towards you. A wretched smell overwhelms your senses as they near. The long dead are slower than the ghouls. The ghouls can full out run if they want to, like 28 days later scary. But the skeletons shamble. So I had to change the language from stampeding to closing, and the undead without vocal cords, their shriek's going to sound different from the snarls of the fleshly ghouls. Lastly, 5 to 6, 2d4 long dead, prickly skeletons, and 1d4 plus 1 fresh dead, which are people that have been killed recently enough that their flesh is still attached to their body. They're bloated. They're gross. A pack of skeletal and bloated undead come into view. Inhuman shrieks erupt from the vile creatures as they shamble towards you because they're both slow. Shamble towards you. The bloated ones appear to be loggers and farm folk. There's been a number of loggers that have gone missing in the forest. So, the undead appear within 60 feet of the characters from behind any structure or vegetation that can provide at least 3/4 of cover for the pack. And there's many, almost in all scenarios, within 60 feet, there's going to either be tree line, crop fields, or structures large enough to actually conceal their movement. So this is valid. Once combat begins, they fight until destroyed. Any character that uses the search or study action can make an intelligence or wisdom survival check DC 14 to follow their tracks towards the farmhouse. To follow their tracks back. It's not default that they're in. Follow their tracks into the Carnwood. Northwesternly into. You follow their tracks northwesternly into. Their tracks to the northwest into the Carnwood. Period. Perfect. And scroll back. Make sure my text is still good. Still good. This is productive. Then we have the Undead Aftermath, which is a separate scenario where instead of being able to speak to villagers in town, they're all dead already. And there's a bunch of undead that are running around the village square that your team can start this off with a bunch of ghoul and long dead hunting. Alright, that feels good. So let's get back into the artwork. Now that you have an idea what's going on, we can proceed with Abandon. Oh man, I'm gonna need a bigger boat. Let's do that. I need a larger area. This is not abundant enough. Let's do like this. It's got to be a large enough area that it completely covers, so when we thin it out, it'll make sense. There. So I'll be back on stream tonight. We're going to push this up a bit. Oh man! What are we doing tonight? We're going to continue working on the Martial Powers project. Actually, the color mana spell point variant rules in general for Ravnica, Theros, Strixhaven. I think the task we have on hand tonight is to work on the backgrounds for each of the different MTG settings using the new 2024 origin mechanics for race and backgrounds. I want to use that to update the MTG settings, potentially integrate color identity a little bit more into the system. But we're still futzing with it, so stay tuned for that. That'll be tonight at 6 p.m. Seattle time. It'll be 9 p.m. East. Can I start that earlier? Nah. Let's go with 6 p.m. Yeah, it'll be 6 p.m. Seattle time, which is 9 p.m. East Coast. We'll stream for a couple hours to see if we can get backgrounds taken care of. I feel like there's some good modifications we can make with the new backgrounds to make everything balanced properly, along with the changes that they have for the Ravnica system. So yeah, streaming once if we end up running playtesting on Monday night, we'll drop the Monday night stream. Same thing for Saturday. If we end up going with a Saturday playtest, I'll drop the Saturday brunch stream in deference to playtesting. Of course, everything defers to playtesting. So we'll play that out. We stream artwork like this for Eberron Monday through Friday in the morning, as we are like, literally right here, right now. And we stream game design and book creation for other things other than Eberron on Mondays and Thursday nights, Tuesday and Friday lunch, as well as the Saturday brunch stream, as I mentioned. And again, once we figure out when our playtesting is going to be on either Mondays or Saturdays, that day will drop off of our stream schedule for until May, basically. And I like the opportunity to switch things up for people. Like we'll run whichever day we like. Let's say we end up running on Monday. We'll run Monday for 2 months, level 3 and 4, and and then we'll offer. We'll put up a post to see if people want, if we have enough interest in switching day to Saturday, or if we should stick with Monday, and if we are going to retain the same cast of players, or if we're going to pick up new ones. And then we'll shift to level 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8, and then cap off at 9 and 10, and that will that should resolve playtesting on my side. I'm thinking about pushing this. I'm thinking about pushing this text block up a shift. I might be able to do that. Maybe not though. I won't know until I get the farmhouse done. So first thing, this is the vegetable garden, and there's ghouls that have mowed down a farmer here and are feeding on the corpse when the characters show up. Once I get this published, these farms and the village and the manifest zone, there's a lot of potential Halloween fun that can come from these maps that we're creating. And so the idea is next year for Halloween, we can take these, we can distill this package and just have just use the cemetery map, and set up a one-shot MacGuffin quest sort of thing. Collect the relics from the cemetery to stop the evil whatever from doing whatever. But the point is that the cemetery is full of undead, and you can run around and either Scooby-Doo adventure style trying to avoid undead to find the solution to the mystery, Or you can go full mecha combat and just start mowing down undead while you hunt for the relics, making it a run and gun adventure instead of a stealth sleuth mission. The farms that we have, we can do corn maze. We can do like Billy's Lost in the corn maze. So it could be undead in the corn maze as well as the children, and your job is to rescue the children before the undead eat them. So that could be a fun little one-shot scenario, running around inside a corn. Like we can set up like little boss fights and stuff inside of the corn maze, like the scarecrow is animated and attacks your characters or blah blah blah. So the cornfields, because who doesn't love a cornfield maze in Halloween, right? So corn maze and the haunted cemetery. These are two maps we can specifically extract from this adventure and build additional content for thematic seasonal content for in the future, if one were to be interested. Maybe we have Krampus in the corn maze. Oh, how season? That's just season bridging. Kids are in the corn maze. Krampus is hunting them. You're trying to defeat Krampus to keep them away. That actually could be a hell of a lot of fun. How's my log? Oop, I gotta throw another log on. There you go, kiddo. Oh, good heat. I've got a wood burning fireplace about 5 feet behind me. Absolutely freaking wonderful. I love wood fireplaces. They make me feel so good. When I was growing up as a kid, I made the basement of our house my bedroom, and there was a wood burning fireplace down there. So I would go out and get wood and occasionally knock a tree down out of the forest and chop it up with a chainsaw and have wood for the winter, so just pull some logs off the block and put them in my bedroom fireplace, and draw on my sketchbook or make maps for D&D and stuff like that. But I had a lazy boy recliner next to the fireplace, so I would just curl up on the lazy boy and my art with my sketchbooks and just art all night. So relaxing down there. I loved it. So me being relaxed with fire in D&D is like super old school, very Kearney-like activity. Finish blending this in. I'm gonna hit save so I don't lose anything on accident, but this all seems to be fitting nicely. Keep those. Keep the fence square while fading the environment around it. thankfully, we're almost done with this one. I know I'm being meticulous, but I want it to be able to properly fade into the environment. It just looks better. So it's important to take the time to smudge this in. Nice. Almost there. Stay on target. That feels pretty good. And now let's go up here and work the farm. I'm going to want to grab a much bigger chunk of farm. Like that. Probably won't need all of this, but it's better to overcompensate than to underprepare. Copy. Paste. Delete. Here. Here. And using this as our starting point, we can now start working this into the canvas as well. Just blending like Bob Ross with clouds. We're just erasing or smudging the space in, blending the image using a masking layer here. The mask makes things invisible, so we're revisibling the masked area, and we're just trying to work it into the canvas like clouds, like happy clouds on a Bob Ross show. Yeah, that should be sufficient. That in. There's a real chicken egg scenario going on with descriptive text mechanics and the map. Because we have to make the pieces of the map fit on the page where we're talking about the activities of that area that the map is depicting. So you have to make the things work together. You work on the text to know what's going on in the adventure. You work on the map to know what the encounter looks like. And while you're doing that, you also need to make sure that both of those components are going to fit on the page. And this is the first time I've made an adventure. I did not know this. So we just wrote an adventure, and I was just making maps to the adventure to play test it through, and I never really considered how much space or what type of spaces is this map, or will these maps need to fit in on the page of the actual document that we're working on right now. So I've been like a lot of the time I've been spending on doing the layouts here off screen is making this fucking text work by either adding or removing blocks of information, just having to manipulate the text space along with these map environments that we've already built. Like a lot of the adventure, a lot of the illustration in the adventure is just simply maps, processing the information of the maps for characters to interact with. And so we'll probably, like, this page isn't going to have any empty space to just need to fill in with random illustrations. But on pages that we could, we will. So the primary objective is to get all of the actual game components onto the page, and then when we do that, we can then look at like where's opportunities for us to add additional filigree, flavor, little corner vignette, just like little pieces, little flavor illustrations to help cement the added, the mood and the look of everything beyond what the maps and the tokens are already providing. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Getting these components squared away first, and then adding in these additional flavor illustrations. That's going to be a ton of fun. The books that I normally create are like game system mechanics or character options for 5e characters, and there's a lot less layout effort necessary to be able to create those sort of books. They're basically just ideas that are listed alphabetically, and whenever there's a space on the page, just make an illustration that has something to do with what you're talking about on that page, and you're good to go. And it makes for a super cool book. You can see a ton of those from the books that I've already created that are down below. Oh wait, I want to keep that. Yeah, if you scroll through like any of these books, you're going to see all the artwork on the pages are relevant to whatever it is that we're talking about on that page. And that's really easy to do. You just come up with a cool idea and you drop it in. But these adventures, the tokens are relevant, and obviously the maps need to be inside of the adventure content as well, so you know what happens in each room and how that correlates with the images. So this is a really important aspect of the piece, but it is a different it's a different workflow. I'd say adventures require more effort than anything else in the game. Even the playtesting of the adventure is more arduous than playtesting character mechanics or like DM tools. So I would say adventure writing is probably, like, creating an adventure is probably the highest state of role-playing game production. Is the most. It requires the most logic, the most workflow, the most flavorful text, and it works all of the. It's literally the game. Like, so many supplements like talk about how to run the game, or how to create interesting characters to run inside of the game, but actually running the game is the most intense part of any role-playing game at all. So I have grown to respect the 32-page modules from 1st and 2nd edition, short and sweet packets of information that are loose enough for you to drop in to your campaign world, but structured enough to know what happens when it's there. And that's the trick. That's the trick. That's the real trick, isn't it? Isn't it? Let's I feel like I want to pull that to here. There. God, this is fun. But very satisfying. The Spelljammer Combat and Exploration supplement that we published. That's player options, DM options, and adventure production. Because we created alternate Spelljammer mechanics, and then demonstrated how to use them by taking the Light of Xeraxis adventure and converting it using our Spelljammer Combat and Exploration mechanics to help lean into and expand on the quality of the adventure Light of Xeraxis. I tell you, having ship combat mechanics and rules for exploring wild space vastly improves adventuring in wild space. Let me just, if that wasn't obvious, let me just spell it out. I know for a fact. I've tested it. I've built a book around it. It's very, very fun when there's more meat on the bone. Super fun. Yeah, of course, there's a link to that. Right here, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. You can check this out. Here's the book. Here's the table of contents. It's all hyperactive. There's a navigation bar here at the bottom of the page that takes you to different sections of the book. Table of contents, ship construction, combat, spell casting, exploration, hazards, creatures, random system generator, and the Light of Xeraxis conversion guide. So here's sample planets, here's sample environments on planets, here's sample types of planets. Random system generator, super fucking good stuff. But then you have the entire Light of Xeraxis adventure in here, where you can see like filling in art details. Where they have all the tokens from the characters. Here's the ship itself and its weapons, the crew that are aboard, elven ship, enemies. Here's our first maps. Alternate encounter maps for Light of Xeraxis. But you can see I was learning how to... I should probably push this up a little bit to get this dot away from the letters. But we're gonna be redoing this for 2024. There's some mechanics in 2024 that makes this better, so we can add on to that. But you can see this is the first type of adventure I had actually started building with, and you can see some of the principles here of how we were blocking in characters and gear and ships and stuff with the different map scenarios. And so this is a fun start, but I think we've evolved. That was a good appetizer for me to get an idea of how are we supposed to, how do we do adventure stuff. And that Light of Xeraxis piece, I had to put this Eberron project on hold and do that Spelljammer piece because I needed to learn how to build adventures. And the Spelljammer was just a 25-page supplement, very light and easy compared to the 104 pages that this thing is. This is a much, much deeper dive into adventure production. So I really appreciate both Andy and Stuart being patient with me while I go through that Spelljammer design, just because I just needed to figure out how to make adventures in the first place. That was a really safe environment for me to figure that stuff out. Thank you, Fire. Fire's chirping on in the background. Let's drop the opacity on that smudge tool so I can blend the edges a little bit easier. The lower the opacity, the less the pixels get pushed. Sorry, it's not opacity, it's strength. The lower the strength, the less pixels get pushed. So initially you want to have a high strength smudge bar so that you can rough hewn chop the shape that you want onto the page. And then we use a more delicate, lighter strength smudge tool to help more smoothly blend the environment into the background of the page like this. You can see there, it's very just delicately blending in. Nah, I don't think there's value in showing the well. Oh shit, that is completely the wrong. Completely wrong. There, back on task. Where do we go from here? Honestly now. Well, we just keep blending. That seems pretty good. Not bad. And it doesn't look like I need to worry about moving the texts, which is great. I didn't want to move the text, but if I had to, I would. I didn't want to because I like how this is paralleling. Actually, it's off a tick, isn't it? It needs to be even like that. Yeah, like that. That feels even better. Hungry already, Kearney? You don't have time for hunger right now. You got art to do. Tell your belly to shut up. Tell your belly. Whoa, 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 whoa. Like that, y'all. Wow, almost too much. This edging here isn't complete. I'm just putting it in as a placeholder to give me a sense of frame. Like literally. There. How are we doing on time? What is it? 7:45? Yeah. I got 15 minutes left. This is great. So, of the 104 pages that are in this adventure, we're done on just basic layouts, like ready to start putting illustrations in for about, I want to say about 45 pages of the document in whole. So, and we've done that in like maybe three weeks, So there's a decent chance, now that I understand how the process works, there's a decent chance that we're going to have the entire layouts for the book finished before the end of November, which will be pretty much right. And I wanted to have the layouts done for this by now, so that all of the layouts were already done. But it's obviously there's complications, and complications slow everything down. But the more we're able to tackle the front end problems, the easier it is for us to be able to, like we have a really good idea of like what the formatting for the different pages, like the different information is supposed to look like at this point. So right now we're just working on using that format to get all the information to actually fit on the page for all the pages. Like the size of the map pieces, like the map components, these are all like the further into the adventure we get, the smaller the spaces that we're describing get. I think it's going to be even easier for us to make these things fit in and actually have more room for illustrations in the back end of the document. So this is all flowing very, very smoothly. Very happy with it. Let me use very a few more times. Very, very good times. So anyway, having said all of that, it's coming along. It's very much so coming along. I feel like I can afford a larger area for this too. Like that, like this. So let's go back. Let's go back to our bigger map. Grab a larger chunk of farm. Delete. Scratch all that out. Good. And then position it. Feels pretty good. Here. And here I'm just lining up the edges of the buildings with each other. It's not necessary for me to do that, but it's just style points. It's just a little extra style. Very good. Very good. Dab nagget is the wrong thing. Dabba do. Like that. Nice. So once we get the layouts done, I can do stuff like this off screen as well. Not only actually doing artwork on screen, but off screen. So I can keep I can do more and more lazy grunt work off screen once the layouts are done. That leaves my evenings free, right? And I want to collapse my time frames to get this thing done because there's so many other books that we're working on. It'd be great to have, to be able to move forward with, like, the Martial Powers project, for instance. It's Spellpoint Sorcerers is pretty much ready to go. I just need to be able to build it out, and I don't have the time to build it out until this is done. So, plus Stuart and Andy had already waited the entire product, like an entire extra year, because of the Spelljammer production that ate a year. So basically, it looks like right now I did this. I was looking at this last night, and it looks like between like from ideation to publication, including playtesting stuff, I can publish on my own with the help of editing and whatever. I can publish about 100 pages worth of role-playing game a year, including new design ideas, game mechanics that are all written out, and all the artwork and assets that go along with it. And I know that time period is expanded because I insist on doing color artwork for DMsGuild stuff, and all I do is DMsGuild stuff. But I'm getting more and more itchy to just do sketch work again, like pencil and ink work. And so when I start doing out of DMsGuild into the indie game space where black and white artwork is far more acceptable, I am very much looking forward to getting into that, because I think my pencil work is so much more expressive and energetic than my color artwork is, because once I get into color art, I start to become concerned about anatomy more and like proportioning and realism and physics, while the pencil is more about gesturing and emotion and energy. And I think once I start moving out of DMsGuild into Kickstarter territory on my own, I'm going to want to really lean into that sense of kinetic strength and emotional energy to help push the feeling, because like you already have a feeling for 5e, right? And I'm such a Dungeons and Dragons fanboy, not a WotC fanboy, but very much a D&D fanboy, a D&D and MTG fanboy. Love the products, love the IPs, not the company. God, my tummy is just absolutely raw. Good fire. Good fire. Here we go. Just gotta work this up here. We always want to leave the masking layer separate from the building illustration so that we can swap out the building illustration without damaging the vignette frame that we've built here. That goes like that. Hit save real quick. And drop out of that. I want to open up page 8 to 12 again. Oh, I'll grab that box of text. Excuse me, hiccup. Nope. form. Roughly like this. Roughly. We'll make the boxes perfect when we go back into Photoshop. Or back into Word. I use Microsoft Word for my page layouts. It's so laughably unprofessional, but God, the program is it's legit a good program. Okay, great. So that's how the page is supposed to sit. And I am pretty happy with that. Let's just lock that. Fucking sweet. I want to put a lock on this page too. Like that. Yeah. So we're gonna have to figure out the framing sooner or later. It'll end up being like that. So that's pretty good. I need to finish up the key. We're gonna have a key along the edge here. There's plenty of space to do it. That's going to be an in-step thing. I'm not going to worry about that until the very, very end. So we got the corn maze down here. 5-foot spaces, different points. You can enter the corn maze here, here, and here, and then they're tiles. So there's actually a 20 by 20 tile here, and we're going to add, I think, another 4 or 5 tiles so that there's just a randomized corn maze that you can create that can stretch for miles if you want. These are 5-foot squares, so each 10 by 10 is 50 feet. And if I have a 10 by 10 space of 50 by 50 squares, that then becomes 10 wide. That's a 500-foot space, which then you take a 500 by 500, a 10 by 10 block of 500-foot squares. Add those together, it becomes a mile. And then you can tile together miles of space in cornfields that stretch off of the map that you can just put down random tiles to be able to build out an infinite corn maze. It could be the domain of dread, the corn maze field. It just goes on forever, and you never get to the end of it. You just loop back around inside of it. So that's a fun idea, if you think that sort of stuff is fun. And this is not quite. This is a zoom in on the corn maze here, but I'm not ready for this yet. So we're gonna spend time, probably this upcoming weekend, working on corn maze specifically, but this is beyond the scope of where we're at right now. So I'm gonna hit save. Hey, how about that? It's time for me to go. So, okay, perfect timing. When we come back, we're going to have more pages that will continue to peel apart and pull back together again. I would say today was a pretty big success. Getting one of these pages done in an hour and a half, that's really fucking encouraging, because we've got about 40 pages that are pretty much just like this, that are different type of map, like in different map environments. So we're just going to keep hammering through all this stuff, and when we get it all done, it's all done. So, yeah, I'll be back tonight at 6 o'clock p.m. Seattle time. That's 10 hours from now. We'll be back on. We'll be doing Ravnica, Strixhaven, and Theros background updates using 2024 rules to update those books, because Wizards, who knows when they're going to bother doing that. So let's update them, and we'll keep pushing forward. So I will see you guys hopefully later on tonight, and check out some of my books. You're most welcome to join my playtest. Just jump in my Discord channel and choose Mondays and or Saturdays to participate in, and we'll just continue moving forward from there. So I'll see you guys in the future. Cheers.